And joining us now is Sean the Movie Guy.
Hey, happy first full week of June here. We got the new movies, 4 new films, but we can only talk about 2 of them because they didn't screen 2 of them for the critics.
You know, what is up with that?
That generally means that either A, they're so sure of their movies that they don't need a critic to give it any bump,
right.
Or more problematically and more probably, it's that the films are pretty bad and so they don't want us to go around and start poo-pooing their film even before it gets out of the gate. So unfortunately, Marmaduke, didn't see it.
You haven't seen Marmaduke?
I know. What kind of a film
I was
critic have I?
expecting that.
And I know you're a big fan of Marmaduke. Look, Owen Wilson plays the talking dog. George Lopez plays the talking cat. They're stepbrothers in the cat and dog. Yeah, whatever. I don't know what this film is about other than talking animals. And if you have a 4-year-old kid, they probably will want to see it. And if you have a 6-year-old kid, they're probably too old to go see Marmaduke.
Well, I was going to take my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old, but I wanted a critique on that.
Yeah, catch me next week.
I'm just going to have to wing it.
I'll post it online. So, and also they didn't screen The Killers, which is a bit of a surprise because that's Ashton Kutcher and Katherine Heigl, a film about 2 people that get together and they find out that he's a spy, and it's an action romance thing, and that bodes very poorly for the film. That type of a film wouldn't screen for critics.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was hoping to take the kids to both of them, double feature. You know.
Yes, no.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay.
But there are 2 films that we did see. The first is Splice, which is a pickup out of Sundance and stuff. And one of the very few horror films we're going to see this summer. This summer is atypically bereft of anything scary other than your normal thriller, and action films. But story of 2 geneticists. You got Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley playing these 2. They decide to mess around with some human DNA experiments, and they throw some human DNA into a normal batch test tube, basically, and they create life. And this life, it's kind of human, but then again, it's obviously something's wrong. There's this big long tail, for example. So, it's a horror film. It's a monster movie. I can tell you, I think it is. It's an indie film, so it's not the high budget, scary flick that we might be accustomed to. But if you like an indie film spirit, it's pretty good. Special effects, I think, are pretty cool. The woman, and I forget her name, she's a French actress who plays the creature.
Right.
It's kind of this strange psychosexual thing going on there. So it's she's in love with the Adrian Brody character and stuff, and
Well, I saw the previews for it, and it didn't exactly look like an indie film. I mean, it looks like a pretty big blockbuster type.
Yeah, and it's getting a big ramp up to try and make it look like a Hollywood blockbuster.
Right.
Pretty good film. Don't think it's a great film, but pretty good. So if you want to see some horror film, better go out and check it out because it may not be around much longer.
And you said that the horror film genre is kind of thin this summer.
Yeah, and after this one, the next one is Piranha in 3D coming in August. So.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
And then also Get Him to the Greek, which is Jonah Hill and Russell Brand. And basically, the Greek is a theater, so Get Him to the Greek, and you've got to get this rock star that's sort of fallen off a wagon. He made a bad music video and nobody wants to talk to him anymore, and they figure, for his 10th anniversary, let's bring him back to give him sort of to the theater where he was once famous and try and get his career going, make it a big deal. The problem is that he's such a rock star persona, and Jonah Hill playing the lackey who has to go get him is such a mild-mannered guy.
Right.
It's a comedy. I gotta tell you, I thought it was pretty funny. Raunchy, so it's a Judd Apatow comedy, so it's one of those raunchy with a heart of gold type films.
Right.
But yeah, Jonah Hill is funny. P. Diddy's in this thing, and he steals the show playing an out-of-control
record executive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who'd have thought, huh?
Yeah, he's pretty good at that. We'll call it method acting. So,
yeah.
So those are your new films this week.
And Sean, what's going on for us this week at the Flicks?
2 new films over at the Flicks. The new ones are The Good Heart and Ajami. Ajami is the Academy Award nominee for Best Foreign Language Film. Basically a story set in Tel Aviv. It's basically about the cultural clash between Jewish, Muslim, and Christian cultures working in Tel Aviv. The other one is The Good Heart. It's a story about Brian Cox plays this crusty bar owner who takes in a young homeless guy. He's played by Paul Dano. Those are the two ones. Don't forget, we've still got Babies going on, though. So Babies is a big documentary, sort of a phenomenon. And the Pentagon, Daniel Ellsberg and the Pentagon Papers, one of the better documentaries of the year about the whole New York Times trying to get the Pentagon Papers out.
That's one I'd still like to get a hold of.
Better go see it soon. They won't last long.
Oh, otherwise DVD?
DVD. It's kind of interesting. Another good documentary, let's say Life, which is the Oprah Winfrey narrated nature documentary. If you've got kids, you want to get the Life series for them. The Wolfman is also out. Benicio del Toro. I didn't think that was a great film. The big one, obviously, is Alice in Wonderland. Tim Burton and Johnny Depp, and it's if you probably should have seen that in theaters. It's a visual treat.
That seemed like a pretty quick turnaround from the theaters to DVD.
Well, and it is, and it's got a lot of theater owners very angry because it came out on DVD far sooner than normally it would have. And
right.
So hey, that's just the trend of things. I think very soon we're going to start seeing day and date release both on DVD and on demand and in theaters.
Yeah. And what's in store for local theater?
Local theater, three plays are still going on over at Boise Little Theater. You have Chapter 2, that's the Neil Simon play. That is going to run through June 5th, so this is the last weekend. Basically a story about a widower who is trying to get back into the dating scene. So check that out, boiselittle.org for more information. Over at Knock 'em Dead, Move Over Mrs. Markham. You've got 2 more weekends to see that. Basically a British farce, so a lot of people running in and out of the theater, slamming doors, getting mistaken identities and love letters and all that stuff. A lot of fun over at Knock 'em Dead Theater, so go to kedproductions.org for information on that. And then the Bob and Al Show, also 2 weeks on this one. This is over at Stagecoach Theater, and it's the story of what happens when a playwright, has his characters come to life and start talking to him. You can go to stagecoachtheater.org to check that one out. stagecoachtheater.com, and it's Stagecoach Theater spelled with an R-E. So good stuff on local stages. Check it out.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Sean.
Okay.
More ETV coming up right after this.
Get ETV, entertainment television, 24 hours a day when you log on to eTVEverywhere.com.